Protest, chaos, anti-vax tradies marching down the motorway, clashing with police. New COVID cases burst Queensland's border bubble. The new rules from tonight. Why the Pfizer vaccine could soon be given to children as young as 5. Water bombers battling bushfires as polar winds blast the southeast. Plus, no rego, insurance or servicing. The hassle-free new way to get your own car.
This is 9 News Queensland.
Good evening. New COVID cases on Queensland's doorstep tonight, with fresh outbreaks forcing snap lockdowns just over the border. Travel rules are changing and we have comprehensive coverage.
The warning signs came early.
We just need to be ready if New South Wales does anything in relation to that Byron Bay area.
And it didn't take long for New South Wales to pull the trigger.
Lockdowns.
Northern New South Wales under COVID's chokehold, Tweed, Byron and Kempsey plunged into a 7-day lockdown. Just 1 week after being reinstated, Queensland's border bubble burst.
We're going to shut the border again today because of one case. I mean, what am I supposed to do?
She keeps changing the rules and you don't know from day to day what the right rules are.
The situation sparked by an unauthorised worker who boarded a flight from Sydney to Ballina on Saturday, spending 3 days in the community visiting a popular pub in Kingscliff.
We're hoping that obviously the Queensland Government will continue to be flexible and reasonable for the people of the northern areas of New South Wales.
From 1 a.m, flexibility is limited. Byron and Tweed local government areas will become off limits. There are some exceptions. If you live on the border and have visited the restricted zones, you'll only be allowed to enter Queensland for essential purposes and must have a valid border pass. On the other hand, Queensland residents can enter the 2 New South Wales shires and return home, but solely for restricted reasons like medical care or essential work, meaning majority of workers who commute across the border daily will be shut out once again.
I just got my vaccine because I couldn't work without it, and so this is my first day.
Now it's Jessica Elliston's last. The hairdresser forced to close up. Half of her business is in New South Wales.
The back half is New South Wales sort of thing, like the line goes through because the school there is New South and this is Queensland. We were even looking into getting another salon in New South Wales just so that we could work, and that's on top of paying rent here.
Many border businesses are past the point of looking for solutions.
It's very frustrating.
Hotel operator Andrew Greenwood says he doesn't know how he'll continue to operate.
Most of our staff live in New South Wales, so they literally can't come to work. So we could have a lot of bookings here, but we've got no one to put on reception, no one to take the booking.
With thousands of families descending on the Gold Coast for school holidays, it couldn't come at a worse time.
We're right on the border. I mean, we can see the borderline from the back of the hotel, so It's a bit nervous.
As strict border rules resurface here, so too does the political blame game. The Tweed Mayor calling out the New South Wales government, saying if a ring of steel was enforced around Sydney, livelihoods and businesses on the Gold Coast wouldn't be at risk.
So many people are already on the brink, and this is going to mean more disaster.
I would say both federal and state government to really open the checkbook and make sure that the businesses don't come out the worst in this case, because they didn't do anything wrong.
Annie Puller, 9 News.
Let's go straight to Sophie Upcroft now with details on a police officer tonight accused of breaching border restrictions.
That's right, Melissa. The Ethical Standards Command are investigating a 56-year-old senior constable who we understand met his daughter at the Queensland-New South Wales border. The 20-year-old was working in the ACT. She then drove to northern New South Wales on the 15th. She did not have a valid border pass or an exemption to cross into Queensland. So we understand that her father met her at the checkpoint and then allegedly helped her to get past in order to get home in time for her 21st birthday. Instead, she has been put into hotel quarantine and has been handed a $4,000 fine for breaching a direction of the Chief Health Officer. Her father has been suspended from official duties as police investigate his role in this border breach. Melissa.
Sophie, thank you. The Premier's moving to kill off reports Queensland must reach a 90% vaccination rate before life returns to normal. We could see changes well before then. The question tonight is, How soon?
0 community cases, 1 in hotel quarantine, no infection so far from the positive passenger at Brisbane Airport. But the key number is another 20,512 were vaccinated.
60.32% have had at least one dose and 41.76 have been fully vaccinated.
Not bad, encouraging, but still not good enough.
Please get vaccinated. It's absolutely critical we get as many people vaccinated as possible.
She did, though, kill off reports she set 90% as a benchmark for a full return to life as we knew it.
That is misinformation that was being peddled today. Let me say categorically, National Cabinet is working on a national plan. We are waiting for further information.
Right now, the everyday Queenslander is somewhere between 70 to 90% confused.
So at 80%, as previously set by National Cabinet, what might Queensland look like?
80% means different things to different states. We already have 100 people allowed to our homes. We have Queenslanders going out their normal business, going to cafes, restaurants, shops, and I am told that we have record bookings at the moment for school holidays. Queensland is already open. A large part of Australia is already opened up.
The other question is, would it mean reopening the borders to COVID-ravaged New South Wales and Victoria?
If the virus came in from New South Wales or Victoria, we would be in lockdown. Make no mistake about that. Then we would be fighting to get our freedoms back.
The answer appears to be no. Those decisions around 80% will hinge on updated modelling due to go to National Cabinet on Friday week. Lane Calcutt, 9 News.
As we go to air, an unstoppable and angry crowd is still toying with traffic and police in Melbourne. More than 1,000 construction workers, furious with mandatory vaccines on work sites, stopped traffic and attacked police.
Protester running over the top of an unmarked police car as steel-capped boots leave dents. Police in full retreat, windows smashed. Get him! Police on the run, responding with tear gas. What? Day 2 of demonstrations stopping the streets of Melbourne. Officers taunted by hundreds, united by anger and fluoro work clothes.
Mandatory vaccinations shouldn't be allowed to do it. Well, why should we put that poison into our bodies?
This is not Australia! That's right, dip your head, put your head down, senior! How is that fair? I'm on my knees! And it's not right!
From 10 a.m, police and protesters played a cat and mouse game through Melbourne's CBD. It began at CFMEU headquarters, boarded up from yesterday's violence.
Leave now or force may be used. No further warnings will be given.
They walked en masse and onto the state's parliament.
New cars and utes.
If they're going to mandate it, you're going to follow the narrative of the politicians and whatnot. Why aren't they mandating it for the politicians first?
Now a sea of fluoro and fingers weaving through trams, clogging the heart of the city and onto the Westgate Freeway. The group growing, arriving on the back of trucks, hundreds of cars across 14 lanes of traffic blocked. The group marching kilometres to the middle of the Westgate Bridge, stopping for a sing-along. 8 hours of demonstration, frustration and celebration continuing tonight with the promise of more tomorrow. Charles Croucher, 9 News.
Children as young as 5 could soon be getting the Pfizer jab. We'll have more on that a little later in the bulletin. Around the country tonight, New South Wales has recorded a slight jump in cases, 1,022 and 10 more deaths. For the first time in the Delta outbreak, Victoria has surpassed 600 daily cases. The ACT has seen 16 positive infections, while across the ditch, New Zealand records 13. Bushfires are burning as we go to air tonight, fanned by treacherous conditions. Let's go live to Alex Heike. Alex, it's those cold winds really making things difficult.
Yeah, cold, Melissa, unpredictable, and as of tonight, unrelenting. Two fires that authorities really are concerned about right now. One of them, the latest that's really flared up in the last few hours, is at Kenilworth, inland from the Sunshine Coast. It's at an advice level. The larger of the two is just north of Toogoolawah. Two fires that right now are continuing to be fanned by these strong winds.
At Gregor's Creek, just west of Kilcoy, strong winds whipping up an unpredictable fire front. Watch the direction of the smoke. It swirls, then turns in an instant. The gusts keep authorities guessing and firefighters on alert. Good thing they have help, but the wind so strong, even water bombers weren't as effective as usual.
The trough is sitting off the coast at the moment, and behind that, that's where we're seeing those really strong winds.
Well, the wind is one thing, but what's also concerning authorities is the recent lack of rainfall. It means the ground is incredibly dry. I guess another way to look at it is that the grass is ready to burn. The Bruce Highway lost a lane, trees brought down, heavy machinery brought in. The system responsible for this across most of the southeast. Also responsible for this, and lots of it, across parts of New South Wales.
I'm from Queensland, Burpengary in Queensland, near the Sunshine Coast. I've never seen snow ever in my life, so today's very special.
Special, but in a different way, the temperature changes in parts of southwestern Queensland. Charleville's top was 32 yesterday. Today it hit 18. 24 hours ago, Toowoomba reached 30. Today, just 17. But the wind chill factor made it feel almost freezing.
So at midday today, Toowoomba was feeling like 1.8 degrees. So it's a really quite a cold burst that's pushed through.
Across Brisbane, Logan, Ipswich and the Gold Coast, the wind wasn't felt as fiercely, making most areas feel around 8 degrees cooler. And it won't be going anywhere fast. The wind set to ease by Thursday. Alex Hunke, 9 News.
Let's go straight to weather expert Gary Youngbury. Gary, we're certainly feeling the winds. Exactly how strong did they get?
Well, listen, today it was Brisbane Airport that clocked wind speeds of over 72 kilometres per hour on the gusts, while further inland it was around Toowoomba, and the winds also reaching close to 70 kilometres per hour. They're easing slightly this evening, but they really will kick in again tomorrow morning. We won't see the winds ease a lot until late tomorrow afternoon and into Thursday, so I'm afraid those winds will stick around. Last night was mild, but tonight will be completely opposite. Wait to see those minimum temperatures forecasts overnight and again for your Thursday morning as well. All those details coming up tonight from Kangaroo Point. Your full weather app not all that far away, Melissa.
Look forward to it, Gary. Thank you. Prime Minister Scott Morrison has arrived in the United States for what's shaping up to be one of the most consequential weeks in Australia's post-war history. The diplomatic spat over Australia's nuclear submarine pact with America and Britain is intensifying. France rallying European allies, threatening to block an EU trade deal with Australia.
Touching down on a balmy New York evening.
I'm very pleased to be here in the United States.
But headed into a storm of French fury, which is now threatening to derail Australia's trade deal with the EU.
One of our member states has been treated in a way that is not acceptable. So we want to know what happened and why.
Explaining his surprise sub-deal to European leaders will be Scott Morrison's first priority on US soil, seeking to reassure the bloc after Australia's abrupt foreign policy change, partnering with America and Britain to go nuclear.
It would be naive to think that a decision of this nature was not going to cause disappointment. And at the end of the day, you have to do things that are in Australia's national interest.
Foreign Minister Marise Payne was denied a meeting with her French counterpart in New York today, instead meeting with EU officials who are tonight holding crisis talks about the new security pact. The US president already under scrutiny from allies over the bungled withdrawal from Afghanistan, now facing questions over whether his pledge to rebuild alliances in the post-Trump era is genuine. The White House scrambling to set up a phone call with the French president in the coming days.
You can expect the president's call will be more about reaffirming our commitment, the United States' commitment to our alliance, to our partnership.
The third amigo, Boris Johnson, is in town too. He'll have dinner with Scott Morrison in Washington tomorrow. Also on the Prime Minister's agenda, discussions about COVID response and climate change. Before the main event, a White House meeting with leaders of the Quad Alliance, Australia, America, India and Japan.
In a few hours' time, the Prime Minister will sit down with Joe Biden to nut out more details of the nuclear pact, which has sparked concerns from our closest neighbours about an arms race in the Indo-Pacific. Scott Morrison now finds himself in America, putting out diplomatic fires from Europe all the way to our own doorstep.
Calling Indonesia's president from the air en route to New York, reassuring him Australia is seeking peace and stability in a region on shaky ground. In New York, Amelia Adams, 9 News.
Scott Morrison says he has Australia's national interest at heart, but has he mishandled the diplomacy? Here's Nine's chief political editor, Chris Uhlmann.
It will be a while before relations with the French warm up again because, in the words of one American commentator, there is no elegant way to cancel a wedding. And in the long run, the new agreement with the UK and the US promises much more than nuclear submarines. But it's vital that relations with the French are repaired, and that's as much a job for Washington as Canberra. It's good that Scott Morrison has spoken to the Indonesian president because Jakarta needs to be reassured that our arms build-up does not threaten it. And the Prime Minister's most crucial diplomatic meeting this week is with the leaders of what's called the Quad, a new strategic partnership between Australia, India, Japan and the United States. Building ties between like-minded countries is much more likely to curb Beijing's aggression than buying weapons. We don't want war and we can't win an arms race with China, but we can win a friends race.
Imagine spending 3 months in a hospital bed, thousands of kilometres from home. Well, that's the reality Queenslander Mark Griggs is living. The father of 4 was hospitalised a week after receiving his first AstraZeneca jab, but it hasn't deterred him from wanting to be fully vaccinated.
Mark Griggs admits he feels a shadow of his former self. Once a fit, active shift worker, he's now confined to a frame for now.
90 days in hospital.
Today?
Today.
Yeah.
On June 15, Mark from Rockhampton had his AstraZeneca jab. He says about a week later, he started feeling ill.
Started getting pains in the chest. So my mum called the ambulance, went up to the hospital.
They said you were fine, sent you home.
But Mark was far from fine. He battled symptoms that 3 times have nearly claimed his life, including severe pneumonia, sepsis, an inflamed liver, his kidneys were shutting down, and he had 12 litres of fluid on his body. His case has been referred to the TGA, but Mark and his wife Sam claim they're still chasing answers as to why.
We've had one doctor who's been brave enough to say it was definitely a result of the AstraZeneca.
Mark says despite his ordeal, he's no anti-vaxxer. His doctors have recommended he get Pfizer while he's still in hospital and can be monitored, and he wants it.
But Queensland Health won't let them do it because they're not a Pfizer hospital. So they won't provide it.
Queensland Health have been contacted but are yet to provide a formal response. Another case right now before the TGA is that of Mick Coughlin, who we brought you last night. After his jab, he developed clots in his hand and now faces the prospect of losing his fingers. But he says he was kept in the dark and denied his discharge papers. Since our story aired, he now has them. And he also has the backing of the Federal Health Minister, who is writing to Queensland Health with what he calls serious concerns about the treatment of Mick. And Melissa, of course, will stay across this developing story.
Yeah, good to hear, Peter. Thank you. The split-second decision that was the difference between life and death. Hear the incredible call by an 11-year-old boy who saved his dad. The moment a highway inferno erupts, bringing peak hour to a standstill. What happened to Gabby? Chilling audio of the call that sparked a police investigation. Plus, at the end of sport, a preview from the Palace. We have your first look at the Royals' special tribute to Prince Philip.
New cars and utes.
A lucky escape this morning for an electrician, his van bursting into flames on the Bruce Highway. Witnesses saw smoke coming from the vehicle around 8:30 this morning, just before the driver pulled over at the northbound Caloundra turnoff. The van then exploding into flames, taking hold of the driver's seat and backing up traffic for kilometres. Luckily, the owner was able to pull 3 gas bottles from the van before the fire took hold, but he lost most of his tools in the flames. No one was injured. Cool, calm and collected. That's how paramedics have described an 11-year-old Deception Bay boy who called 000 to save his dad. Tonight we can play you that call, a perfect example of what your child might need to know in a medical emergency.
in the most frightening moment of his young life.
Yeah, I was scared at first, but then I took a deep breath.
11-year-old Noah Bryce did everything right.
Okay, what's happening there?
My dad's having a seizure and we just put him in the recovery position.
A technique he'd seen on television.
I watch Operation Ouch and they tell you to call 000.
Operator Matt Knight picked up listening to Noah give his age, location and details of his dad's history of epilepsy.
I was using my computer and then he started having a fit and then he fell on the floor.
Did he hit his head on the floor as well?
Yeah, it's pretty hard.
It just struck me how calm and cool Noah was on the other end of the phone.
He even gathered his dad's medical records for paramedics.
And I was able to look at his medications and everything else and come up with a good plan.
I'm proud of him for everything.
Awarded for his bravery, he now thinks he might like to save others and join the emergency services when he grows up. There are simple ways to prepare your kids for a 000 call, teaching them how to relay their address, phone number, even showing them how to unlock your phone can save crucial minutes in an emergency.
It could mean the difference between life and death in the end.
Lily Greer, 9 News.
US authorities have released the 911 call that prompted police to check on 22-year-old Gabby Petito 1 month before she vanished. A witness reportedly saw the travel blogger's fiancé, Brian Laundrie, hitting her on the streets of Utah before they drove off in a white van.
We drove by and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
He was slapping her?
Yes, and then we stopped. They ran up and down the sidewalk. He proceeded to hit her, hopped in the car, and they drove off.
The FBI has stormed Brian Laundrie's family home. Investigators are yet to track him down. Hit the road without worrying about the big bills. Tonight, only on 9 News, the new cars and utes with no rego, no insurance and no servicing fees. What you need to know before you get behind the wheel. Our special report is ahead. Homes destroyed and thousands evacuated as volcanic lava oozes closer to the coastline. A step closer to fully vaccinated, why one jab could soon be given to children as young as 5. The Prime Minister's nephew forced to put his money where his mouth is after fleecing customers. And meet Queensland's rookie recruit. We're along for the ride of his dream day on the beat.
9 News, brought to you by Nearmap, the most intelligent aerial map on Earth.
Scott Morrison's nephew will have to put his money where his mouth is, ordered to repay more than $30,000 for building work he never completed. Clients of Mitchell Cole claimed the tradie name-dropped and showed photos with the Prime Minister to win their trust. He's also been fined $26,000 and will have to complete 200 hours of community service. Children as young as 5 could soon be joining the vaccination race, with Pfizer announcing its jab is safe for young kids. The manufacturer has tested a low dose on more than 2,000 children aged between 5 and 11 and will now be seeking FDA approval to extend the age requirements for the vaccine by the end of the month. In the US, they're planning to roll out lower doses of Pfizer to the younger age bracket by the end of October. The threat of an eruption on Spain's Canary Islands is refusing to subside. Lava expected to spew from the volcano for weeks to come. The Spanish Prime Minister is right now overseeing rescue efforts, with thousands fleeing their homes, more than 100 of which are all but destroyed.
A smouldering landscape where an unstoppable force has consumed all before it. Lava has crept through the island street by street, edging towards the doors of holiday homes before they're destroyed. Pools turning to boiling pots as the scorching tide spills over. Firefighters and police could do nothing to slow the spread, although they did manage to get some livestock out of harm's way. A camera on a nearby observatory showing how the La Palma volcano burst to life against the night sky. Police ordering evacuations.
Por favor, desalojen las viviendas.
There were 5 fissures torn into the hillside, 4 villages in its path, and thousands of people fled, including tourists.
I phoned the lady who's where we're living, and she said she doesn't know if the house is still standing.
Even as the molten monster slowed over the next hours, the lava gave off potentially dangerous gases. The Prime Minister speaking to rescue workers, giving him the good news that no one had been killed or injured.
Lo más importante es garantizar la seguridad.
He said the most important thing is safety. We're still in a stage of eruption. Stay as far as possible. A message missed by Spain's tourism minister, who said the volcano might actually lure tourists back to the Canary Islands to see the wonderful natural spectacle, a spectacle many could have lived without. Brett McLeod, 9 News.
Many children dream of becoming a police officer, but very few get the privilege of walking the beat as a junior constable. A young Queensland boy battling cancer is one of them. Tonight, we can take you inside his special mission on the front line.
This boy in blue is not only one of the youngest constables in the Queensland Police Force, but also quite possibly the happiest. 9-year-old Christopher Lowe sworn in at a special ceremony.
When we got his diagnosis, I said I just wanted him to be a police for a day.
In June this year, Christopher started treatment on a brain tumour here at the Children's Hospital. Unfortunately, doctors have also diagnosed him with a neuroepithelial tumour, an extremely rare cancer with only one other case here in Australia.
This is amazing. Everyone's gone above and beyond and just made his dreams come true.
Kitted out with his own badge, hat and holster, he's straight out on the road.
Awesome stuff. Throw your seatbelt on.
The rookie recruit uncovering a crime in minutes.
Someone broke into the police station shed.
Finding fingerprints, Christopher suits up and learns to do his own forensics.
It was a big hand too.
Before joining the dog squad on the chase, tracking down the stolen bike, handing it over to detectives.
What do your nuts say? Red push bike, green helmet. Looks like it to me. Fantastic.
A dream day not complete without a jam session with the police band.
Hopefully give him some happy memories to look back on when he's going through such a horrible, tough time.
Happy memories and a new red bike.
It's mine now? It's yours now.
Sophie Upcroft, 9 News.
Well done, Christopher. What a great day. Well, start your engines. The heavy metal beasts from Mad Max Fury Road go up for sale. How you can get in on the action. The belly fat breakthrough that could hold the key to keeping off excess weight. New vehicles without the hassle. What you need to know before you get behind the wheel. Plus, taking the plunge, the Good Samaritans who rescued a stranded roo. We've long been warned of the dangers of putting on excess kilos. Now, Australian researchers have discovered a way to treat the process that causes weight loss to form around our waist. The study, modifying an existing anti-inflammatory drug to reverse lymphatic vessel changes that cause excess fat. The drug will be trialled on people with pre-diabetes. It's hoped the discovery can reduce the risk of obesity and type 2 diabetes. The Mad Max movies had their good guys and their villains, but the unspoken heroes were the cars in all their weird and wonderful shapes. Now, the heavy metal beasts from Mad Max Fury Road are up for sale.
They're probably not your regular consideration for a second-hand car. But geez, no one's going to argue with you for that parking posse during Christmas shopping. A total of 13 cars used during production of Mad Max Fury Road, now for sale, such as the reworked Ford 32 Coupe called Elvis.
This is one of the first cars that you see as part of, I guess, the chase on Fury Road. This is the backbone of the Mad Max franchise. This is the XB Interceptor.
Burnished to bare metal, it has a surprising Achilles heel. But I shouldn't really have my fingers on it, I'm told.
The acids on our fingers can rust it away.
And the chariot of the film's evil protagonist, the Giga Horse.
The 1959 dual Cadillacs that have been welded together. It's got dual V8 engines. This thing is an absolute machine. This was built for a king.
They are far from the fakery of Hollywood props, using true heavy metal. Each engine of each beast ticking over for real. The catch from the collection's current owners is that all 13 must be brought as one lot. But as they say in the auction caper, it's one of one.
They want to make sure it goes to a new custodian who's going to honour and respect the vehicles the way they need to be honoured and respected.
Mike Dalton, 9 News.
Canberra locals have banded together to help a kangaroo to safety. The shivering marsupial found frozen with fear in the shallows of Lake Burley Griffin this morning. Two men approaching it cautiously before picking it up and carrying it out of the water. A former NRL captain heading to the Broncos. The premiership in paradise, how Queensland is selling our historic NRL Grand Final. At the end of sport, a heartfelt tribute, your first look as the Royals remember Prince Philip in a special documentary. As Princess Beatrice celebrates baby joy, the details on the newest, littlest royal.
It's all about the wind chill factor this evening, those fresh southwesterly winds, and the feels like temperature just 10 degrees right now in the city. Your full forecast not far away.
New cars and utes.
Even though he's unable to take part in the NRL finals, Latrell Mitchell is still playing a crucial role for the Rabbitohs by being turned into a Tom Trbojevic clone at training. The Bunnies will also have an X-factor on the bench when they battle Manly in Friday night's preliminary final.
The Rabbitohs are one step away from the grand final, and the most experienced bunny in the borough is making sure everyone stays relaxed.
He's cool, calm, collected and likes to take the piss out of people, so it's handy to have a bloke like him around.
Benji Marshall might not have made it this long in the NRL if not for a one-year stint at the Broncos in 2017 that reinvigorated his career.
Benji plunges over.
Well, there's been a couple of times where I probably look like I was gone, from playing, but like I say to the kids, you just got to back yourself. You never give up. It doesn't matter how old you are. Never give up on if you want to play, go out and get it. So. I owe that to a lot of people.
If Benji's Bunnies beat Manly on Friday night, it'll end a 16-year wait to add to the grand final appearance he made with the Tigers in 2005.
The further you go in the competition, the harder it gets. And if you don't step up to another level, then the other team can leave you behind, and we know we need to step up this week.
Souths are taking a novel approach to preparing for Tom Trbojevic by having the suspended Latrell Mitchell act as the Manly fullback during their sessions on the Gold Coast.
He's been quite a handful at training, but that's what we want.
Pretty similar to Turbo out there, so we've had some really good practice there, and hopefully it'll show.
Adam Jackson, 9 News.
The Broncos are adding to their forward depth, signing former Titans captain Ryan James on a 2-year deal. Meantime, Nathan Cleary is pushing towards his first Dally M medal, but he'll have to hold off Tom Trbojevic when the final 6 rounds of votes are counted at Howard Smith Ward's next week. Cleary leads by 1 point over Manly's fullback.
It'd obviously be pretty awesome. Again, going back to when I was growing up, you always watch the Dally M's, and the people that have won it in the past, it's some of my heroes. So, it would be a massive honour, but we'll see.
And the Broncos have taken something out of their forgettable season, albeit from someone about to leave the club, with Xavier Coates honoured for chasing down fellow Queenslander Dane Gagai, the stunning effort awarded Tackle of the Year. The Wallabies have climbed to number 3 in the world and posted back-to-back wins for the first time under coach Dave Rennie. But they're not buying into any hype after their success against the Springboks.
That sort of means bugger all if we don't go out there and do it again. No one remembers winning 2 games against South Africa. Everyone will remember us losing against Argentina. Everyone will remember that.
The Wallabies face Argentina in Townsville on Saturday in the first of 2 tests. We have a new star of Australian cricket. Teenage bowler Darcy Brown tore through the Indian batting lineup on debut, finishing with figures of 4 for 33 to set up Australia's 9-wicket victory in the first one-dayer in Mackay. Rachel Haynes, Elisa Healy and Meg Lanning all posted half-centuries, chasing down the 226-run target with 9 overs to spare. Publicly, she's the Firebirds' respected captain. Internally, they call her the smiling assassin. And tonight, club leader and defensive weapon Gabby Simpson has committed to Queensland. She'll play on in 2022 to bring up a decade of service in purple. Emma Zilke's coaching career didn't get off to a great start. She forgot her whistle on day 1. 9 News has been given exclusive access as the premiership-winning Lions captain prepared for Brisbane for its shot at back-to-back titles.
A familiar face at Lions pre-season training.
Help her out! Help her out!
Premiership captain Emma Zielke starting her new life as an assistant coach.
Yeah, mate. Oh, they love it. They already start calling me coach. They don't call me Zilks anymore. They do give me a bit of stick if I forget my whistle, which I did on the first night.
With head coach Craig Starcevich in hotel quarantine, Zielke's in charge and cracking the whip.
That's a slow fifth gear, girls. That's a slow fifth gear. Oh, come on, coach. Being around the girls, it motivates you. How could it not? They're a bunch of strong, courageous, athletic women.
Zielke's playing career ended in tears, but finished with a fairy tale. A premiership that's helping grow women's football in Queensland. Fans and sponsors jumping on board as the Lions build something special.
The biggest change is just seeing the amount of girls playing grassroots footy now.
Life's been a whirlwind for Zielke too, even named Mayor of Bundaberg for a day.
Free rum here. Ginger beer over here.
But back-to-back premierships would taste even sweeter.
11 of them played in the grand final team, all under 21. You can see right there how much growth they've got to go, and it's really exciting to be a part of it. Absolute stars, you guys.
Mark Gottlieb, 9 News.
The Dolphins have joined the NRL Premiership. Premiership promotion, that is, with Tangalooma locals starring in Queensland's Trophy Tour. Former Redcliffe junior Josh Kerr and Queensland veteran Sam Thaiday also played a part as the Proven Summons Trophy was taken to Moreton Island's iconic sand dunes on a quad bike adventure before being set against the stunning backdrop of the dramatic Tangalooma Rex. Scenes that seemingly inspired a Titanic moment. It's fair to say the NRL's grand final publicity blitz is flying. And boy, oh boy, it certainly is looking very good indeed.
Yeah, very nicely done from the boys. They had the full arms out wide. Worked. Thanks, Will. Members of the royal family have let the world in on what it's really like being related to Prince Philip, sharing some cheeky stories as part of a preview for an upcoming documentary.
When we used to go for family barbecues, instead of like a mustard pot, we had a mustard tube, a squeezy mustard tube. And you used to take the lid off and put it in your hands. It gets you to hold it.
Gets you to hold it in your hands, and the lid's off. And I can't remember exactly what he says, but he ends up slamming your hands together.
And then you squish your hands together to fire the mustard into the ceiling.
It goes all over the ceiling.
The full documentary is out on Thursday. And the Queen has a new great-grandchild to gush over, announcing Princess Beatrice gave birth to a girl on Saturday night. No name as yet, but the bub weighed 6 pounds 2 ounces and is 11th in line to the throne. It's not yet known whether Prince Andrew will pay a visit to his new granddaughter. The Duke today served court papers from sexual assault accuser Virginia Giuffre. No rego, no insurance, no servicing cost. In just 3 minutes, the new cars and utes without the big bills. Just get behind the wheel and go. What you need to know before you sign up, though, is just moments away. First, though, Gary's back with a check on the weather. Gary, sounds like we're in for a bit of a cold night.
Oh, Melissa, I'm freezing already here at Kangaroo Point. It's all about the wind chill, as I mentioned, but we're looking at single-digit temperatures for most of the suburbs. All the details in your full forecast up next.
Checking finance and the stock market closed higher. The All Ords up 25 points. Our dollar is buying 72 US cents. Checking fuel, the average price for unleaded petrol in Brisbane is $1.68. Diesel is $1.49. The average on the Gold Coast is $1.69. It's been described as the Netflix for cars. Pick your model, pay a weekly or monthly fee and cancel at any time. Car subscription services are on the rise in Australia. Tonight, 9 News is crunching the numbers, what you need to know before you sign up.
Anyone who owns a car knows it's not just the car you pay for. There's insurance, maintenance, servicing. Enter the car subscription. More short-term than a standard ownership, longer-term than car hire.
Car subscription services are growing because not everyone wants or can afford a new car.
Essentially, you sign up, pick your car, take it home, keep it as long as you like, upgrading, downsizing or cancelling when you're ready, and pay as you go. At Car Bar, prices for a Mitsubishi Mirage start at $126 per week, $218 per week for a Mitsubishi Outlander and $313 per week for a Toyota Hilux. Subscriber Car has prices starting at $145 a week for a Hyundai i20, $170 for a Honda Accord. At Motorpool, a Kia Sportage goes for $199 per week, a Ford Ranger for $320 per week. Hire car company Avis has also introduced Avis Flex, essentially longer-term hire, but with cheaper rates.
Rental companies and car companies are all looking at the subscription model very closely.
For anyone who's recently spent money on tyres or insurance or servicing, a simple one-off payment probably sounds like a great way to get on the road fast. But the experts warn, slow down, read the fine print before you drive away.
For a 5-year-old car worth about $15,000, it would be about $6,500 a year. Now that's an expensive bit of money spent for nothing to show at the end of the day.
Carbar, for example, has an upfront fee, a 4-week minimum, late fees and a 14-cent per kilometre charge if you drive more than 26,000 kilometres per year. And Subscriber Car also has a one-off joining fee.
I don't think it looks great as an alternative to buying a car.
You really need to do your sums. It may not add up for a lot of people, but for some people who don't drive that much, it definitely makes sense.
Reece D'Alessandro, 9 News.
Time now for all your weather details. Gary, is it going to be as windy tomorrow?
Not quite, Melissa, but still fairly windy across southeast Queensland. It should ease late tomorrow afternoon into the evening, but spare a thought for our southern neighbours. It's been a lot windier further south. Take a look at these pictures around Perisher and the ski fields, picking up another 20 centimetres of fresh powder snow. The ski season all but done, but a nice white tinge to add to the resorts just to wrap up the ski season. That's where all that cold air is coming from into Brisbane this evening. Let's have a look at temperatures across our backyard, and it was quite mild overnight and early this morning before that change moved through, while today's temperatures were pretty close to average. 26 the maximum in Coolangatta, Caboolture, Brisbane Airport and the Sunshine Coast, and as we mentioned, the strongest wind gusts at Brizzy Airport, 72 kilometres per hour. On the weather map, westerly winds with a front will bring showers to South Australia, Victoria and Tassie. Showers also for far north Queensland due to a trough and onshore winds. Around the major centres, cloudy with a few showers in Melbourne, early frost and -1 in Canberra, Sydney partly cloudy and a little cooler in those southerly winds. Queensland sunny in the north, Central Coast and Capricornia with mid-20s from cooler southerlies, while a cold morning but sunny day in the Burnett and Wide Bay. 2 degrees the expected low in Kingaroy. Inland should be sunny, fresh southerlies, mid-20s, Roma down to 1 degree overnight. Here in the southeast, a sunny day, southwesterlies tending southeast in the middle of the day. Overnight temperatures falling as low as 4 degrees. Daytime highs, we're looking at low to mid-20s, Ipswich and Archerfield 25 the high. Moreton Bay, southwesterlies tending southeast. There is a gale wind warning for Gold Coast waters where the seas could reach up to 4 metres offshore. Brisbane, cool morning, the low 10 degrees, a maximum of 24. 7-day outlook, sunny Thursday, but then a cold morning. Will warm up Friday, 28 degrees, Saturday sunny and 30 degrees. Ipswich, a cold one again Thursday morning, but a sunny day. Friday expecting 30 degrees, Saturday 33. For the Gold Coast, sunny and dry into the weekend, Friday 26, Saturday 28, but a possible shower on Sunday and cooler. The Sunshine Coast also warming up over the next few days. Friday 29 degrees, and as we move into the weekend looking warm, but Sunday a shower or two and cooling back down, but a couple of chilly mornings heading our way, Melissa.
We'll keep the jumper handy, Gary, thank you. Before we go, here's a look at a story you won't want to miss tomorrow night.
It's the shopping service booming in the pandemic. Packages to our doors. But what if the delivery notification is a scam? What to do when you get fake messages? Can they get your details? How can you make them stop and protect your bank accounts? The full story on 9 News tomorrow.
And that is 9 News Queensland for this evening. Tracy's next with a current affair, and I'll have updates for you throughout the evening. Thanks for your company. Good night.